Hey, I'm Joe Mullikin, and this is Life Mentored. This is our last teaser episode before we start launching full episodes next week. I'm so excited for you to take this journey with me. I kind of throw this last teaser episode out. What I want to just really give is the why, the what, and who, and then where. So one is why. Why does this exist? Why did this come about? Well, like the simple answer is that, as I've said in many of the teasers and things before, is that we've been sold a lie that our story doesn't matter and we're the loneliest generation. And that's true. But this became a passion project for me because what I really wanted to do is just have a chance to be able to hear people's stories. And I have a deep belief that if I want to hear their stories and if I'm going to find meaning in their stories, somebody else probably is too. And so why would I not provide an environment, provide a platform, provide a space where they can do that? And so that's why this exists. Truly, this isn't something where I'm looking for clicks. This is something where I want to provide the space. I've been on these teasers. You're going to hear my story in the first episode, but after that, you're going to hear the stories from other people. It's not about me after that. It is about us. It's about community. And there's never been a story that I've heard from somebody that I've really had respect for, that I've resonated with, where they've said, hey, the way that I did this was by shutting everybody else out and doing it all by myself. Right? We do life better in community. And that's where the mentored aspect comes from, because I know that for me, connection doesn't happen by accident. I have to be intentional about it. And I have to be intentional to make sure that I reach out to the people that I need to when I need to. And I have to be intentional about making sure that I know what I'm taking in and recognize that the things that I listen to, the things that I watch, all that stuff has an impact on me. And I want to provide the space for people to be able to share their stories so that other people, and me included, can hear those stories and take in things that help to make me better and help to make me grow. So who is this for? What is this going to be all about? This is for people who feel like they want to hear the stories, one, of other people. Two, this is for people who are sitting there in their mid-career, early career, end of career, but sitting there and going, I feel maybe alone in something, or sitting there and wanting to hear the journeys that people have taken, to be encouraged by that, so that they can maybe take that leap of faith, so that maybe they can take something and take that journey with them. For people who have that abundance mindset, that belief that there is enough room at the damn table for everyone, that there is space for all of us to be the best version of ourselves. There's enough problems out there for all of us to solve. There's enough food on the table for everyone to eat. That's who this is for. So what's gonna come? What's it gonna be like? I can't wait for you to start hearing episodes as they come out with me talking and spending time with people. But really, it's a conversation. It's just hanging out. It is not intended for it to be overproduced. This is not intended for us to turn into something that is this massive production. There's an intent within this that we make it authentic and genuine. And I have an incredible person behind the scenes, Brandon Ward, who his information is going to be in the link for this episode. But Brandon is doing our post-production work and is going to continue to support this as we continue to move through. And I couldn't be more grateful for that. I think we have one of the best out there doing it. And he could make this so much more produced than we are. But the intent is that this is authentic, because these are everyday stories from people like you and I, and providing them the space to do that. I don't need a studio. I don't need a fancy space. I'm in my townhouse right now. There's a decent chance that while this podcast is going out, that this will change behind me, because I might have to move somewhere. Where this is my home. There is no fancy studio. There is no fancy equipment. I'm here with my computer, a little microphone, and a light and a webcam. You see the same thing when we talk with different people. Because at the end of the day, it's about the story, not about the atmosphere that's provided around it. I want to strip some of that back and just provide the opportunity. And I can't wait. There's some that I hope that we get to do in person that are close, and we'll be able to sit down, and maybe it'll look a little bit different for those. But really, the intent of what's to come is just for you to hear stories. Raw, unedited stories of people like you and I. Because again, This podcast really is going to exist and is really here because you deserve to feel like your story matters. You deserve to feel like you matter. You deserve to feel like you have value and that you are enough. And I think a lot of times those feelings of not being enough, of not having value, of not belonging, I think a lot of those come because we don't see ourselves. I was a pre-K2 principal for a number of years, and we always talked about we want stories and we want characters in the books that reflect the lives and lived experiences of our kids, because we don't want them all to see just the typical nuclear white household every single time in every book. We want them to be able to relate to the book and see themselves in it. And I want you to be able to do the same thing here. I want you to be able to see yourself in our stories. I want you to be able to hear stories that resonate with you because it sounds like your lived experience. That's what this is about. Because you deserve to feel like you have value, that your story matters, that you're enough. There's two things I believe that everybody should hear every day. That you have more potential in you than you currently believe. And that you, right now, as you are more than enough. And any growth that you're going to make isn't because of a deficiency. It's just because it's growth. It's progress over perfection. And in a world where we continue to work really hard to gloss things over, to make things look beautiful, to have perfection, man, I prefer imperfection every single time. Because it's in the scars and the scrapes, in the bruises and the dust that we find the beauty that exists in life. So I hope you'll take this journey. I hope that as we go through that we have people who engage in this, that listen, that I hope stories resonate. I hope all those things. But at the end of the day, why does this exist? Who's it for? This exists because I want to hear people's stories. I don't want to feel alone. I want to feel like my story matters. Who's it for? It's for me, as much as it is for anyone who listens to this. And what's it going to be? Not about me. It's going to be about the stories that people are coming in to tell. So I hope you take this journey with me. I hope that these stories resonate. I hope that there are laughs and that there are times that you find joy and that there are times that you find hope. But above all else, I hope you recognize that in doing this, the goal is to remind all of us that you are enough. You do matter. You do have value. Because your story matters. And your story is what made you, you. So, next week, my first episode drops. I'll tell you my story. And then after that, I can't wait for you to start hearing the stories of some of the most incredible people that I have ever met. I'm Joe Mullikin, and this is Life Mentored.